We're approaching that wonderful time of year again, flu season, which means if you haven't gotten one already, it's time to get your flu shot. Now, many of you may be thinking, I don't need a flu shot, I never get sick, or maybe you got your flu shot last year and you feel like risking it this time around. I'm sure I'm not the first person to remind you about flu shots this fall. However, most of the time when people are reminded to get flu shots, they aren't reminded about why. Whether it's to fight harsh illnesses like the measles or mumps, or to prevent simple cold symptoms, vaccines are essential to keeping us healthy, not only as individuals, but throughout the community as well. And no matter if you're up to date on immunizations or not, it is just as important to be vaccinated for the people around you as it is for yourself. In order to understand the need for vaccines, it's vital to understand what exactly vaccines are and why they're effective. The first vaccine was developed in England in the 1790s when Dr. Edward Jenner observed that milkmaids who had been infected with smallpox were unaffected by later outbreaks of the disease. With knowledge of similar practices in Asia from the preceding century, he transferred fluid from the lesion of one milkmaid to the arm of a young boy, who later developed that same immunity. By introducing the body to a small amount of a virus or bacteria, the immune system adapts by producing defensive white blood cells known as T lymphocytes. Once the initial infection is gone, memory T lymphocytes are left behind with other white blood cells, which remember how to fight the infection. This memory and ability to fight subsequent outbreaks is what we refer to as immunity. Jenner's initial discovery led to a series of clinical trials and eventually much more formal vaccinations. Today, vaccines prevent a wide variety of diseases while using many different components based on the foundations of the first smallpox vaccine. Thanks to a wide use of vaccinations for the past 2 centuries, many diseases such as polio, tetanus, and rubella have all been eradicated in most countries. Now, it's not quite believable that 100% of all people in a nation will be vaccinated, especially in larger countries such as the United States. With such a wide variety of religious beliefs and allergies, as well as compromised immune systems, unfortunately not everyone is able to get vaccinated. This is where herd immunity comes into play. Herd immunity is the notion that if enough people are immunized from a disease, the illness cannot reintroduce itself or spread. We all know that in order for an illness to spread, somebody has to have it in the first place. That person may show symptoms of the illness, or they could just be a carrier, which means that they do not appear to be sick on the outside, but they still hold the disease and they are able to spread it. If everyone is vaccinated, it will not matter whether or not you are a carrier, because the illness cannot affect people who are immune. Therefore, even if one person is not immune to a disease, they cannot contract it if everyone around them is immune to it. Herd immunity is the reason that so many diseases have been eradicated by vaccines in the past. The large reason that we continue to be vaccinated is to maintain our herd immunity. Herd immunity only survives as long as people are immune, meaning outbreaks can still occur in communities that are not vaccinated. Therefore, the most effective way to prevent disease outbreaks is for every individual to be vaccinated. However, many people who already received vaccines fail to stay up to date on their vaccinations. Some vaccines require more than one dose to strengthen immunity, and many people are under the impression that that first dose is all they need. This especially is prominent in flu shots, which can be given annually. As I previously mentioned, there are some cases in which people are unable to receive vaccines. These cases include people that have compromised immune systems due to conditions like pregnancy, cancer, or HIV/AIDS. These are typically the people who are most dependent on herd immunity, as they usually have worse symptoms and greater complications with illnesses, often resulting in hospitalization or even death. So even if you think the flu isn't that bad or you'll be fine without your flu shot, you can still spread the disease and infect others who do not have healthy immune systems. So if you aren't sure whether or not you're up to date on your vaccinations, you should reach out to a primary care doctor right away. Health is not just one individual's responsibility, it's everyone's. And even if you aren't affected by an illness, it doesn't mean you can't spread it to someone else who is. No one likes to be sick, but some people are affected more than others. So just as you wouldn't go to work or school if you're sick, Take responsibility for yourself and others, and be sure to get your flu shot this year and every year.